Listen to them clapping and shit. Give it up for our bass players, huh? That's right. Save the applause for them because I got nothing but bad news for you people. This is not going to go well. It's going to be a little depressing, not like my usual cheerful self. The machines are coming. In fact, in a lot of ways, they're already here. Stealing your time, capturing your attention when it should be somewhere else, violating your privacy. Pretty shitty world we live in, actually. And it's only going to get worse. This is just the warm-up act, all this stuff. The machines are getting more powerful. Now they're coming for your jobs. They're coming for your relevance. They're coming for your humanity. That's it. That's all I got. That was the talk. Look, you all have been prepared for this moment for most of your lives. I'm old enough. Anybody else old enough to remember the analog days? Remember those days when we, I don't know, made eye contact and like talked to each other and went outside to play? Do you remember that? And then we started saying yes to the machines. It was the 90s that did it to us. A machine on every desk and in every home. Microsoft's like, buy a PC. And we're like, fuck yeah, we'll buy one of those. In fact, we'll buy one every damn year. Stock it full of software. That wasn't enough for them. Just owning our living rooms, our desktops. Here's an idea. We're going to sell you another PC you can carry around with you. You can put it in your backpack, and you can take it to like an internet cafes, and from meeting to meeting to meeting, we're like, yes, I want one of those too. And then Google came along, and they're like, hey, everybody, want to surf the web? And we're like, yeah, we do. And then Facebook's like, who wants to share? Oh, well, we do. We don't really know what that means, but we want it. Tell us, what are we supposed to share? Everything. Everything you do. Pictures of your food, pictures of your fucking junk. Share that shit. Give it up. Yes, we're in. Totally in. Then Apple's like, how would you like to carry all this shit around in your pocket? How would you literally like to take it everywhere you go? Remember that whole printing driving directions thing? You don't even need to know where you're going. Maps on the phone. You don't need to turn each other on anymore. It's porn on the phone. We just kept saying yes. We kept saying yes. We kept saying yes. All right, one time we said no. Right? Google Glass. I'm like, no, Google. You cannot sit on my face. This has all been prepared for this next generation of machines. They're coming. From mainframes to PCs to tablets and laptops and smartphones. What's next? See, this talk is about succeeding in this new world. And you can't succeed in a world if you just keep saying yes all the time. You got to look forward a little bit. Let's think this shit through. It could be that this stuff's making us stupider. I come from America, the most technologically advanced country on earth. And I have two words that prove it's made us stupider. President Trump. The machines are coming. They're getting smarter. Pick this stuff apart, people. You got to take control of this. If you don't own it, somebody named Zuckerberg will. Machines are coming. What are they going to look like? I mean, these phones we carry around, these magic wands, they can't really get any smaller than that, can they? I mean, without taking some shit out, and then it becomes a watch, and it doesn't do as much. So it's kind of a stagnant technology. Where is it going to go? Well, we're going to stop carrying it around is the most likely answer to that question. It's going to go into the environment, right? And it's already doing that. The robot that we're first having to deal with is a car. Self-driving cars. And the fact that I can say self-driving cars and you all are all like, yeah, so what? Fucking self-driving cars, people. This shit works on its own. You've seen the video. The people are sleeping behind the wheel. It's driving itself, and it's doing a better job than you are. Much better job than you are. So let's pick this apart. How did this shit happen? Well, I actually worked for Google when so the way this shit happened is a little history lesson here, if y'all like history. The DARPA challenge, right? The self-driving car. To drive a freaking car. This car needs to drive itself over the desert. And in 2005, 6, I forget, that succeeded. They did it. And Google's like, we can do that. Now, the story I heard was Larry, not Larry, what's the other one? The other twin. Sergey Brin's Prius. He bought like Tesla Roadster number 4 or something from Elon. He's like, here, guys, make my fucking Prius drive itself. And they did. I remember the test drive. I was a Google employee. I remember the test drive. It was out in the back parking lot. Prius rolls up. Nobody's in it. Like 8 dudes around with kill switches. Yes, I'm sorry, but they were all dudes. With kill switches just in case it runs somebody over, it goes rogue or something. There's a satellite dish on the top of this fucking car. And I'm like, dude, what's the satellite dish? What's it do? And he's like, it doesn't do anything. He's got a big grin on his face, but it really looks cool, doesn't it? Fast forward to 2019 and they're driving themselves. Tens of thousands of them in multiple countries, roaming around, no human involved in it, and they're doing it well. So this is a hint for us. How did they do that? They weren't programmed to drive, and this is the scariest part, right? All this tech that we have, all this tech that's stealing our time and stealing our attention, and that, let's face it, we take it into the toilet with us, don't we? It's, she's looking at me. All right, I see you all smiling. You can't hide it. No one wants to admit it. I'm not touching your phones. It's all been programmed. The next phase of this is it's not programmed. Those cars, no one coded those cars to drive themselves. They learned it, right? Think about teaching somebody. Have you all probably taught somebody to drive a car, a kid or niece, nephew, whatever. You teach them how to use the car, right? All right, that makes it go. That makes it stop. That changes the gear, all that, right? So that's the first step of this new future. The first thing that you might be doing is training a machine to do something. And the first step of that is the sensors that make it see, the sensors that make it hear, the sensors that make it help it smell. These sensors are out there. If you all have ever played around with the Internet of Things, with all of these high-end sensors, they are crazy good. They can mimic all of our senses: touch, feel, smell, taste. Build all the sensors that can make the car see and hear and avoid obstacles, and then train it, right? Just like you train your kid. Turn right here, look this way, go. No, not across the white lines. That's the way AI learns too. You see, you can't really separate AI and IoT. Try as you might, you can't. Right? IoT are the eyes and the ears, the sensors, the hardware. AI is the software. We don't program AI. We train it. We give it a bunch of examples. We show it things to do. Recognizing cats in a photo. Why cats? Why was it? That was the contest when I was a PhD student in AI. They had this national contest to recognize cats in a photo. Why cats? Because we got a lot of pictures of fucking cats. More pictures of cats than anything, except maybe millennials' junk. I don't know. You showed enough pictures of cats, and then you tell it when it's wrong, and it self-corrects. Eventually, it learns to recognize cats, and eventually, those machines learn to drive a car. Why is it that Tesla was first? Why is it that Google and all these other companies were laboring for years, and car companies laboring for years doing this shit? All of a sudden, the Model S comes out, and it drives itself, and it caught everybody off guard. This is subtle, but this is important, because the Model S is a car second, and it's a computer first. We're not going to be making toasters smart. We're not going to be making, that's why your TV, they call it a smart TV. It's not a smart TV. It's a dumb TV that happens to be able to run some apps, because it's a TV first and a computer second. Those Toyotas, those Google Priuses, all those cars were cars first and computers second. It's a bunch of bolt-on shit. And we're going to rethink this. I'm going to get to the career advice. Don't worry. We're going to rethink this. Tesla Model S beat everybody else to the market because it was a computer first and foremost. And secondly, it was a computer that happened to have wheels and could drive itself. What other machines are out there, right? Lawyers are training machines to be lawyers. Surgeons are training machines to be surgeons. And here's your first hint. Here's your first hint about your future. And here's the first way we can sort of reclaim this from the big tech companies that have, let's face it, been fucking it up and getting really rich on it for decades. What machines should be on the Internet of Things? What machines should be smart? And those cars are smart. You know, not only can they avoid obstacles, they can talk to each other. All those cars are reporting up to the cloud. All of them are reading. They know about traffic while the traffic is still forming. They know instantaneously, right? A few people have been killed by self-driving cars. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands are killed by human driving cars. They're better because they can talk to each other. Right? They can send signals back. Oh, don't go that way. That way's blocked. Go the other way. They can all talk to each other. This is where augmented or virtual realities come in. Give it 10 years. And riding in a self-driving car is going to be a harrowing act. These cars are going to be so close together. These cars are going to be weaving around things at a rate where it's going to frighten the shit out of us. Mark my word. Within 10 years, you're going to get in a self-driving car and you will not be able to see out the windows. Too frightening. We can't handle it. It'll be some little virtual reality world where you can do, I don't know, Facebook. Because they can talk, we can't, right? There's really only one single way that human drivers can communicate with each other. Only one. It feels good, but it's not really ineffective. It's not really effective. So we need to rethink the machines. Which machines should be on the Internet of Things? Which machines should be intelligent? I picked my hot tub because my hot tub's kind of a pain in the ass. I got to order chemicals. I got to fill it with water. I got to test the chemicals. I got to open the lid. I got to close the lid. What a bunch of bullshit. And so I started thinking about it. And this is what I want you to do. When I used to work at Microsoft, I used to train people on how to think these scenarios through. Just go through your everyday life and watch yourself do something. This is AI. AI, you are training something. You're not programming it. This is good news for those of you who can't code. The tools for training are getting better and better and better. Coding is going to be a really useful skill for the next 10 years. Then, not so much. So I trained my hot tub to take care of itself by reducing the problem of my hot tub to data. I would test the chemicals, that's data. I would add chemicals, that's data. I would order chemicals, that's data. I would get in the hot tub, that was data. I'd open the lid, I'd tell it its lid was open. It's all data, 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 data. And then finally, it started doing things on its own. It learned to open and close its own lid based on voice commands, right? The UI is really important here. The UI is going to change. If your expertise is graphical user interfaces and buttons and taps and scrolling and shit like that, your skills are going to atrophy really quick. If it's not voice, if it's not a gesture, if it's not your mere presence, I can walk up to my hot tub. It recognizes me and opens. Ta-da. One time that fucker closed while I was in it. I taught it not to do that again. Another time, it injected chlorine while I was in it. Not good. Chlorine is really, really bad for humans, really bad for men, especially because we've got, external, not good. So this is the problem, right? All right, now you got to think this shit through. All right, how do I train the machine that I'm in it and not to do this funny stuff? Back to the beginning, right? It's IoT. Is there a sensor out there? Is there a device out there I can put in my hot tub that will tell us the humans in it? I thought about all kinds of stupid shit like badging in. I'm like, oh my God, I've worked for Microsoft too long. Sit in the hot tub. It's a piece of tape. It goes from the bottom of the tub to the top of the tub. And when you sit in the tub, you displace water. And it sees the water rise, and it's like, human in the tub. Awesome. And then I thought, I wonder if I could train the difference between humans. Right? Because, I'm bigger than my son, who's bigger than my daughter. We're the three primary users. See if it can tell the difference. Of course it can. And I thought, I wonder if I could compute somebody's weight based on the amount of water their mass displaces. I still don't know the algorithm for that. But my hot tub figured it out. It got pretty close. Data, right? I get in, I'm like, I weigh 185 pounds. It's like, all right, now I know what 185 pounds of water displacement looks like. I put my head under, I'm like, now I've got my head under. Aha, now it knows what somebody who's drowning looks like. My daughter gets in, my son gets in. I need more data, though. I need more data. So I had a friend over. And I'm like, hey, fancy getting in the hot tub? She's like, no. So I just wore down after a while, the way white men do. It's kind of sad. She's like, okay, I'll get in the hot tub. So I'm thinking, oh, she's got to go first. So I'm like, oh, I put on my southern accent. Ladies first. And she gets in, and I'm looking at my app. I'm like, let's see, this girl weighs. She gets in, and my app's like 135 pounds. You got it, didn't you? You see the flaw in my story. Now I got to ask her how much she weighs. I don't know about Sweden, but that's not a polite thing to ask a lady where I come from. So I changed tactics. I'm like, look at you. You're looking fit. I bet you've lost weight. I'll bet you're down under 130, aren't you? Always guess low. She's like, well, yeah, I think I'm probably around 128. I'm thinking, bullshit. Lying about her weight, which isn't all that original because I just lied about mine. I'm not 185 pounds. It's okay. It knows this shit. So I got an alert. See, this is the thing. Now, once it starts learning this stuff, a lot of times you don't know what it's doing. I don't know how it's computing my weight. I never programmed it to do that. It made the correlation, and it's pretty damned accurate with it. That's what AI does. It makes these correlations. Which one should it make? I got an alert. I was in Europe. I think I was in Amsterdam. I get an alert. There's 305 pounds of human flesh in me. That's what my hot tub calls you if it doesn't know your name. I'm thinking, 305 pounds? Why in the hell did I not install a camera? Who's in my hot tub? What the hell is going on? Oh, maybe it's 2 people. Uh-oh. I subtracted my daughter's weight from 305, and I got Dylan. 10 pounds lighter, it'd have been Kevin, totally fine with that scenario. It wasn't Kevin, it was Dylan. I'm thinking, shit, I'm 4,000 miles away from my hot tub and Dylan's in there. I had no choice. I had only one function that would help me. Close lid. I'm a bad father. I closed the lid on him. About 5 minutes later, I get a text from my daughter. She's like, Daddy, your hot tub's going crazy. And I said, no, sweetheart, you triggered the chastity protection feature of my hot tub. See, this is one of the problems with AI and IoT. This shit gets really smart, really capable, really fast. And since it wasn't programmed, we can't always predict the way in which it learns and the way in which it grows. This is a big problem. If you think the shit that the machines are doing now is creepy, if you think Facebook and Google know too much, just wait. Someone is going to turn a building into a computer like Tesla turned a car into a computer. The pubs, the restaurants, the shopping malls, they're all going to be computers. And you can say, oh no. But you're going to buy this shit anyhow. Just like you bought the PCs, just like you've done everything that you're told to do by the tech companies. So now what? How do we build careers around this? When the machines are better at driving than professional drivers, when the machines are better at practicing law than professional lawyers. Actually, I'm going to give it that's kind of a silver lining in this cloud, right? That the lawyers are going to lose their fucking jobs. That's a silver lining. Hell with those assholes. The accountants are not going to be able to keep up. Finance people aren't going to be able to keep up. One after another, these things are going to fall. And we can talk about, universal basic income. And we can talk about, but we're really bad at that kind of shit, especially in my country. We're really bad at it. We do capitalism pretty well. And we're good at making billionaires, kind of, one of our specialties. But how do we do this? So first thing that I want you to think of just career-wise is prioritizing this stuff. What are the machines that we should build? And we have to think about this. We can't leave this to Mark Zuckerberg. We can't leave this to Larry Page. We can't leave this to Bill Gates. The one thing all those people have in common is that they're really good at capitalism. Not particularly good at inventing new technology. What has Microsoft or Facebook or Google ever really invented since they're nothing? Begged, borrowed, bought, copied, but not invented. So what are our priorities as people? Where are you going to put your talent on this? That's the first thing. What are those interesting scenarios? I challenge you, go through your day watching for all the places where the technology just fails for you. You want to do something and you can't. You got a problem and your technology doesn't solve it. I was in a movie theater watching a movie called World War Z, or if you're English, it's World War Z. The English like to put extra consonants in their letters. It's got Brad Pitt in it, and it's got zombies in it, making it pretty much the perfect date night movie for me. I like zombies. And she kind of has a passing fondness, shall we say, for Brad Pitt. She's super excited. There's a shirtless scene. She can't freaking wait. And then halfway through the movie, the girl gets up and leaves. I'm like, where are you going? He could disrobe at any minute. You might miss it. And if she missed that shit, she'd make me describe it to her. I got enough body image problems without comparing myself to that perfect asshole. Somebody send a copy of this video to him. But it didn't work out that way. He kept his shirt on. In fact, he wasn't even in any scene to speak of. 3 or 4 minutes later, she comes back and sits down. She's like, oh, awesome. And I'm like, well, aren't you going to ask me what you missed? And she said, I didn't miss anything. And I said, well, you're right, but how'd you know? Because she has an app that tells her when to pee at the movies. There is an app for that. This is what I'm talking about. Someone, probably with a really small bladder, figured out all the boring times, just documented them. It's all data. Documented them, and then he sells the app for 99 cents. I got it. Hell yeah, I got it. It's called a run pee. I'll tell you this story because I know you go to movies. I'll tell you this story because I know you are a urinating human being. And the combination of being a movie-going, urinating human being should make this app interesting to you. But you didn't know about it. This is something the machines are going to solve. Just picture it. Picture it and then design it. And I want you to picture these scenarios. This is your career. It's going to get harder and harder and harder to make a living these days. Picture these scenarios. Go through your day. Damn it, I got to pee at the movies. There's either already an app for it or you're going to build it. But they're not going to be apps in the future. It's going to be the movie theater itself. It knows a little bit about you. It's automated. It knows, for example, that she doesn't want to miss the scene with Brad Pitt. I would be more than happy to miss the scene with Brad Pitt. Tell you when to go. Go through your day. All the places where the tech fails you. All the places where there is no app. And just consider all of these things, possibilities. This is the way I think about my investments when I invest in startups. Would I ever use this? Would I use it a lot? Would I tell my friends about it? Would I want this with me 24/7? The machines are going to be with us 24/7. Take control of the scenarios that matter to you. Otherwise, we're going to get whatever they develop for us. Go through your day, have a notebook, write these things down. I teach an MBA class at the University of Washington in Seattle and another one at Lancaster University in the United Kingdom. And I have people keep a notebook the entire semester long. Keep a notebook. Every single gap in technology, it's going to be filled. Somebody's going to film it. Somebody's going to fill it. Somebody is going to build all these things that matter. And we don't need big tech companies to do this anymore. There's your opportunity. It doesn't take the investment of a Microsoft or a Google to do this. Anybody can do it. That's why startups are proliferating so much. Get the idea that matters. Get the scenario that matters the most to you. Now, the machines are going to get better. They're going to get better at a whole bunch of little things. They're going to get better at the easy stuff first. It's going to take them a little bit while longer to get better at the harder stuff. And as you go through your career, this is important. At some point in the future, 5 to 10 years from now, we are going to be competing with these machines. So we already got by the point, build it. For the next 5 to 10 years, build, build, build. Be the lawyer that decides to put all the other lawyers out of business. Be the accountant that decides to put all the other accountants out of business. Be the person that trains the machines. This is going to be where most wealth is generated, most cool careers are. Be the trainer of the machines. After the machines pick all the low-hanging fruit, there's going to be a period of time a little bit further in the future where we're competing with them. This takes a different strategy for your career. Imagine having to compete with a coworker who was pretty damn good at every single task the team performed. Right? The Jack, the Jill of all trades, we call them. Pretty damn good, reliable at everything. That's going to happen. No matter what field you work in, that's going to happen. You work in medicine, there's going to be a machine that's pretty damn good at everything. Pretty good at surgery, pretty good at reading charts and scans, pretty good at prescribing medicine, pretty damn good at everything. Your job is to be better. This is a competition. Who's going to win? Are they really going to be smarter than us at everything? Developing expertise is going to be really important in the future. And I mean expertise. You know, in a way, the machines are challenging us here. In a way, the machines are going to get good at all the little shit so that we have to get really good at something that matters more. Start looking for places to get really good at something. You will be competing with machines. Expertise matters. A lot of cool shit happens in your brain when expertise matters. You get really good at something. I mean, really good at something. Do you remember learning how to ride a bike? You're frightened, weren't you? You even watch your kids when you teach them how to bike. You're like, holy shit, there's a lot to think about. You're like, I gotta, propel myself forward. At the same time, I gotta balance. Oh, God, I gotta steer. And I got a parent behind me screaming like a fucking psycho. It's a lot of shit to keep in your head because you ain't very good at riding a bike. But once you get good at riding a bike, it takes less conscious effort. Once you get really good at riding a bike, it doesn't take any conscious effort at all. Why? See, here's something that the machines maybe can't do. We have two parts of our brain. We have a conscious brain and we have a subconscious brain. Subconscious brain is where expertise lies. We are so good at riding a bike, our conscious mind is no longer necessary to perform the functions of riding a bike. It can think about other things. This is why you ask anybody who rides a bike to work, why do you ride your bike to work? It ain't to get fit. It ain't because they're tree huggers. They'll all tell you it's great thinking time. And they're right. It's amazing thinking time because both parts of your brain are active. The subconscious mind is taking care of riding the bike. the conscious mind is left to think. And even though neuroscientists don't really understand it, there's some interaction that goes on there. Both parts of your brain are active. You only get this if you're an expert. This parallel processing only happens if you're really freaking good at something. So good at something that you really don't have to think about it. So get good at something. There are going to be no generalists 10 to 15 years from now. The machines are going to take care of all that shit. There's going to be machines, and there's going to be people who are better than machines. The other people ain't going to have very good careers. Be one of the experts. There's this process of creativity that becomes really, really important. When I think about things, I write. I'm a writer. I write. I quit Microsoft back in July, and I wrote about it. I published it yesterday. I don't know if anybody read it from my Twitter or my LinkedIn account. But I write. I write. I fuss over every word. I fuss over every sentence. I put it aside and I let it rest. And I go back to it. And I have this whole process for writing. Right? I go back and I read it. Even my coding process is the same. Read what I did yesterday. Add a little bit to it. Fuss over it. Fuss over it. Fuss over it. Guess what happens? I got really good at writing. Sorry. This is not time for modesty. You read that shit. It's good, isn't it? And I love it. And I love it. And I get better at it every time I do it because I got that shit going on with my brain. Right? Grammar, spelling, sentence structure, what subject to put first, that all happens in my subconscious mind. My conscious mind is left with, how am I going to describe all the fucked up shit I ran away from at Microsoft? And the words come. You look at the Twitter, and I know which words you're going to be retweeting. Even before I published it, I knew exactly the words and the phrases that were going to resonate with people, because those are the words and the phrases that came to me while I was in that creative trance. That's why I'm good at it. Get good at something. I dare anybody to train a machine that can outwrite me. Get to that point with something. I don't care what it is. Get to that point with something. Machines are coming and they're going to be pretty good at everything. Get better than them. This is my attempt to talk about the trance state. It's a book called The 7 Stages of Creativity. You can buy it from Amazon. All the money goes to charity. In fact, I'm supporting a Swede now, my new charity, totally fallen in love with Greta Thunberg. And so if you are a climate denier, if you're a climate denier, don't buy my books, because she's going to get the cash. Get good at something. Get good at something that the machines can't get in. So here's the next point. It's the cracks, right? The London the London Underground has this. I love it. It's you get on the train. It's like mind the gap. Mind the gap. Mind the gap. It's great advice. Mind the gap. Right? We are going to get a chance to watch these machines work. Over the next 10 years or so, we're going to get a chance to watch the machines work. We're going to understand things like driving cars are going to be really freaking good at that. Large swaths of law and finance and accounting, they're going to get really good at that. And a lot of accountants and financiers and lawyers are going to make great careers helping the machines get really good at that. But there's going to be gaps. Mind those gaps. What are the machines not going to be good at? double down on that stuff, because they are going to get fewer and further between as you go through life. It's going to be harder and harder and harder to find those gaps. But they're going to exist, and they're probably going to exist around things like creativity. Our bass players, right? Program a machine that'll do that. You can program a machine that'll play those notes, but you won't program a machine that'll make them up. You won't program a machine that will create those notes. See, machines are really good at going from something to something else, because we train them. That's the data. That's the something. We give them the something. Humans are good at going from nothing to something. Charles Darwin's like, what if we weren't created? What if? I don't know. Maybe the machines will get good at that one of these days. Maybe the machines will get good at asking the deep questions, but it seems unlikely. And it also seems like it's going to be the last thing. There was an experiment. They trained a AI on a large swath of Wikipedia for some subject I've forgotten. And after days of studying this thing, training on this data, the AI began to come up with new theories based on that data. Most of them were bullshit and some of them weren't. Of course, that's part of the training. That's a bullshit question. Now the AI knows a little bit more. Mind those gaps. Think about the things that are creative, right? If your child, look, a lot of us, I'm not going to call you old, but you're pretty old, actually. Now that I'm thinking, I am going to call you old. Holy shit. It's the young people I really worry about. You know, we're the last generation that kind of grew up in this analog world. We're the last generation that grew up in the analog world, saw the digital progression, and will end up competing with the machines. That's our generation. Pretty interesting place to be, I'd say. It's the young people I'm worried about. The digital natives, they call them. The digital natives are going to have to do this for a lot longer than we are. They're going to be in this long enough that the machines really could begin to get creative, where the machines really can do everything. They're going to be the ones that train a machine to be a person. Now, we can train a machine to mimic a person, right? We can't create a machine that has empathy. But we can create a machine that fakes empathy really, really well. Our kids are going to have to deal with this stuff. Buy your kids that book. I think there's going to be a backlash. I don't think this is going to last. Nothing ever lasts. The Industrial Revolution didn't last. The PC era didn't last. The mainframe era didn't last. We always think it is. Do you remember in the 80s when we were arguing it? Sun Microsystems versus Microsoft, and Sun Microsystems like, oh, you got a fat client. Do y'all remember that advertising campaign? It's a fat, PC's a fat client. Oh, fuck off. You can't advertise your way out of this shit. You're irrelevant. Nobody ever thought PC would win. Nobody ever saw the downfall of Microsoft either. Even Microsoft. They were convinced they won the web when they won the browser wars. The world doesn't work that way. Google didn't see the app world coming till it was too late. They make their money on the browser. internet browser, click those fucking links, go on, click them. We got private islands to finance, click them. We got yachts to float, click them. Get your ass in there, click, click, click. They even made the ads look just like the links, so we clicked. And it didn't last. In the app world, it's going to be replaced by the machines that we've just spent the last 45 minutes talking about. It's not going to last. What makes us think the machine world will? Will there be a generation? Every generation. No one wants to grow up like their parents. That's why all the kids abandoned Facebook for Snapchat. No one wants to grow up like their parents. Maybe there's a time where humans would just say, enough of this. We choose an analog life. Maybe there's a time where we will choose to not use the machines. Or we will... Okay, I take it back, machines, I take it back. Oh shit, they're watching. Okay, we're being watched. Maybe there's a point at which we will just say no. Which means, other than Google sitting on our face, we have to train ourselves to say no. We have to begin to choose the world that we want to live in and stop saying yes to everything that the tech companies give us. Have they created a better world? I don't know. They've created a really profitable one. And at some point, we as humans get to decide what kind of world we want to live in. But until then, watch for the gaps, become an expert, train the machines if that's the thing that suits you. But the world is going to change, and it's going to change again from the machines. And then we're going to find out, once and for all, just how human we are. At this point in my talk, I usually say, my name is James Whitaker. I work for Microsoft. But instead, I'm going to say, I'm James Whitaker. Go to Twitter and find out why I no longer work for Microsoft. Peace.
Så alla, då är det dags att säga hej då och tacka för TechDays 10-årsjubileum. Det har varit många spännande, intressanta sessioner och jag tycker faktiskt att jag vill också säga, vi började så här, investera tid för att få en tid i en framtid. Jag vill verkligen tacka er för att ni har investerat er tid här med oss. Men jag vill också skicka ett medskick. För det är ni som är framtiden. Tekniken ger oss många möjligheter, också många dilemmor. Och det kommer att vara vi människor som kommer att fatta besluten. Om vi ska använda tekniken på ett bra sätt eller ett mindre bra sätt. Men också faktiskt för att göra bättre. En bättre miljö och en bättre värde för oss människor. Så tack så hemskt mycket för ert engagemang här idag. Hej då!